Snark Squad, Sunday afternoon.
The wine.
Flowing.
Here.
And babes, we are ready to spiral.
To our international snarkers, we love you, we see you, we hope you have the most amazing week.
And babes, keep sharing, keep listening. We do this for you.
We are creatures of habit, and we are not breaking tradition.
The Indian takeaway is here.
And babes, we need to talk about it. Spinach paneer curry, chicken pakora, a little biryani, and yes, we are eating this with wine because Babe's Splitsvilla requires wine.
Wait, pass the pakora before you take the whole cart.
I'm passing it.
Oh my God. Okay, this crunch. The structural integrity of a perfect chicken pakora is just, it's unmatched.
It's everything.
It's aggressively crispy. The spices are practically punching me in the palate right now, and it is entirely unapologetic about what it is, much like, the reality television we consume.
I am literally not stopping you from enjoying the pakora, okay? I will emotionally defend the crunch of a fried appetizer until the day I die. It's a sensory experience. But you are actively ignoring the absolute masterpiece sitting right next to it. Look at this spinach paneer curry.
I mean, it's fine, but...
No, you have to engineer the perfect bite. It requires focus. You take a little of the rich, velvety paneer, you mix it with a scoop of perfectly spiced biryani. You get that earthiness from the spinach, and then, watch me, you take a massive sip of this Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, I see the vision.
It is an actual spiritual awakening.
I will concede that your engineering is impressive. Analytically speaking, the food science is sound. Because the spinach paneer curry is so heavy on the dairy fat, right? It coats the tongue completely.
Right, exactly.
So you desperately need the high acidity and those crisp, sharp notes of a white wine to cut through that fat and cleanse the palate.
Yeah.
It's an exercise in perfect culinary balance.
It is balance.
Which, if we're being honest, is wildly ironic considering the absolute fundamental lack of balance, sanity, and logic in the television show we are about to dissect today.
Oh, we are getting to the absolute psychological warfare of MTV in a second, I promise. Our mission today is to completely deconstruct the manipulation, the financial ruin, and the utter lack of emotional intelligence on display this week.
It was a lot.
So much. But before we cross the threshold into the villa, I need to look you directly in the eyes.
Uh-oh.
Put your wine glass down. I need to tell you what happened to me yesterday.
Your tone is terrifying right now. I am bracing myself. Proceed.
Confession. Got invited to a rave.
Wait, what? Babes,
Are you serious?
we are in our 30s.
Yeah.
We are licensed dental professionals.
Literally.
We look at x-rays of impacted molars for a living. We have been to an actual literal nightclub, what, twice in the entirety of the last decade?
Yeah.
Like, what do we do there? What is the protocol?
Okay, let's just remove the emotion for a second and logically break down the mechanics of a rave.
Please, because I'm losing it.
You are talking about a social event that theoretically begins its peak energy cycle at roughly, 11:30 p.m.?
At the earliest. Right. And 11:30 p.m. is when my core body temperature is dropping, and I am actively entering my third REM cycle.
Exactly.
Furthermore, you are talking about standing on poured concrete, or worse, mud, for 6 to 8 uninterrupted hours.
Oh my God, my knees.
Exactly. There is no seating. If by some miracle there is seating, I can guarantee you it is coated in a sticky substance that requires a hazmat suit to navigate.
But I am emotionally spiraling. Is this supposed to be my new era? Am I suppressing a latent rave girly persona?
You are not.
Do I need to open the Amazon app right now at this exact second and bulk order neon fishnets? Am I supposed to learn how to make those little beaded condi bracelets?
Absolutely want.
Do I need to purchase a top that is structurally nothing more than sequined dental floss and hope for the best?
Babes, I have chronic lower back pain. I have a highly specific ergonomic chair at the clinic.
See, the lower back pain alone is an immediate disqualifier. But let's take it a step further. Let's talk about the sanitation.
Oh, think about the infrastructure of a rave bathroom. We are talking about porta potties stationed in the pitch black, physically vibrating from the sub-bass frequencies of a DJ named something like, I don't know, Skrillex's cousin.
Skrillex's cousin. I'm crying.
We are dentists. We thrive in sterile, highly illuminated environments. We sanitize our hands 40 times a day. A rave is an epidemiological nightmare disguised as a good time. You are fundamentally not built for this. I am fundamentally not built for this.
But what if we are built for it and we just don't know it because we've trapped ourselves in our comfortable little boxes?
No.
What if we just take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, strap on some highly supportive orthopedic sneakers that we aggressively bedazzle with rhinestones, and just let the EDM wash over us?
I'm cringing just picturing it.
I feel like I am in the trenches of a midlife crisis, and my brain is telling me the only known cure is a massive bass drop.
Well, your brain is lying to you due to societal FOMO. The scientifically proven cure to a midlife crisis is a heated mattress pad, a weighted blanket, and 8 uninterrupted hours of sleep.
You're probably right.
I reject this entire premise. Let's play the tape forward. Let's say we go. You will arrive, step out of the Uber, and instantly realize the music is playing at a decibel level that practically guarantees permanent sensorineural hearing loss.
Which is an occupational hazard for us.
Exactly. You will complain about the lack of a coat check within 14 minutes,
Yeah.
and we will be silently sitting in the back of a surge-priced Uber heading home by 12:15 a.m.
Honestly, we would be the worst reality TV contestants.
Our lives. So boring, no drama, no chaos, just vibes and snacks.
Which is exactly why we stay in our lane.
Precisely.
Our lane is this couch. So pour some more wine, let the rave dreams die a quiet death, and let's get into the actual mission of today's recording. We are going to judge the absolute chaos, moral bankruptcy, and the strategic meltdowns unfolding in MTV Splitsvilla Season 6.
Yes. PR ya paisa. Love or money.
Because if we cannot survive a warehouse rave, we are instead going to survive dissecting the dome session of doom.
Okay, let us establish the baseline of what we're dealing with in episode 38. For anyone in the Snark squad who might be new to this specific brand of torture, the dome session is the elimination chamber.
Right.
It is the tribal council. It is where all the whispering and backstabbing of the week culminates in actual, tangible consequences, or at least it's supposed to.
And this is where I am still completely losing my mind over this specific dome session. Completely.
Oh, I know.
We had an entire hour of buildup. The background music was giving Hans Zimmer levels of intensity. The contestants were sweating in their carefully curated outfits. Sunny Leone and Karan Kundra are standing at the podium looking like absolute royalty, holding the literal fates of these terrified 20-somethings in their perfectly manicured hands.
The production value is very high.
The tension is palpable, and then no one goes home.
0 eliminations. A statistical anomaly in the reality TV ecosystem?
0. I threw my hands up, I paused the television, looked at the empty wall of my living room, and yelled.
I got the text messages in all caps, I know.
What do you mean no one is going home? We just sat through an hour of complex alliances, secret conversations in the bathroom, and paranoid strategy for a participation trophy dome session. It felt like a massive cop-out.
Okay, I completely understand the emotional frustration of being denied the catharsis of an elimination. I really do.
Thank you.
However, you are looking at the surface-level result and missing the underlying systemic brilliance.
Oh, here we go.
It wasn't a producer cop-out. It was a demonstration of a perfectly executed defensive strategy based on behavioral economics. We need to analyze the insurance twist.
Okay, explain this to me because I was just mad.
This is the exact moment the subtitle of the show, PR Ya Paisa Love, or Money Actually Materialized as a Tangible Game Mechanic.
Right, okay, break it down for me because all I saw was a bunch of people staying on my screen who I specifically wanted off my screen.
The rules dictated that unsafe contestants, meaning those who hadn't won immunity tasks or secured power positions, could approach the podium and stake their entire bank account of split coins to purchase insurance.
And just for context, split coins are the currency they earn through challenges, which historically buy you luxuries or safety later in the game.
Exactly. So if you buy the insurance and your name is written down for dumping, the insurance activates like a force field.
Yeah.
You stay in the game, but your financial assets are wiped to absolute 0.
Bankrupts.
Completely bankrupt.
So Anushka and Harshit, they walked up there, read the room perfectly, and pulled the trigger.
They did.
They knew they were walking around with massive, glowing red targets on their backs.
It is a textbook example of loss aversion. In psychology, loss aversion is the principle that the pain of losing something, in this case, their spot on national television, is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining or keeping a resource, like the coins.
That makes so much sense, actually.
They correctly calculated that the coins were worthless if they were sitting on a flight back to Mumbai. So they zeroed out their accounts, and the timing was mathematically perfect.
Because right after that, we had the massive power shift. Niharika and Sorab step up to the oracle, And for the uninitiated, the Oracle is essentially the giant iPad of doom that calculates if two people are mathematical compatible based on whatever secret algorithm the producers use.
The magical producer iPad, yes.
And the Oracle declares Niharika and Sorab a perfect ideal match.
A catastrophic shift in the villa's hierarchy.
Insane. They take the throne, literally dethroning Garesh and Akanksha, who had been sitting pretty up there.
Which Garesh and Akanksha were not happy about.
Oh, they were fuming. With that absolute power to eliminate, Niharika and Sorab look down at the peasants and immediately write down Anushka and Harshit's names for dumping. And boom.
The insurance activates.
That dumping is blocked. It was like watching someone cast a shield spell right before getting hit by a fireball.
It was a beautiful, premeditated defensive maneuver. But while Anushka and Harshit used their own resources to save themselves, the true sociological experiment happened with Himanshu.
Oh my god, yes.
Let's trace the sequence of events. The designated power match of the week, Gulu and Suzanne are given the right to execute a dumping. They operate logically, putting a massive physical and strategic threat in their crosshairs. Himanshu.
They wanted him gone. They saw their window and they took the shot. Himanshu is completely backed into a corner, sweating bullets, and he pulls out a secret power card he won earlier.
Right.
But even with the card, the math isn't mathing. He doesn't have the numbers to fully secure himself against the votes. He is about to be sent packing.
And this is where the concept of the currency of loyalty comes into play.
This is where my jaw literally unhinged from my face. Ruru and Sorab, who are relatively safe at this moment, step up to the podium and verbally announce they are sacrificing all of their hard-earned split coins to buy safety for Himanshu.
Unprecedented.
They voluntarily zeroed out their own reality TV bank accounts to save another player. I need to pause right here and ask the listeners directly. Snark Squad, look deep into your own souls. If you were on a reality show with a cash prize, would you empty your entire bank account to save your villa bestie, or are you keeping the coins?
Oh, I know my answer.
Because I'm looking at you right now. Wait, no, I'm looking at you, babes, and I am telling you, I am keeping my coins. I will send you a nice text when I get back to civilization.
Oh, without hesitation. If we were cast on this show and you were standing at the podium facing elimination, I would look at you, summon a single, perfectly lit, cinematic tear for the camera, and say, babes, you are my heart, but I have to play my game.
You are so evil.
You would be in the back of an Uber on the way to the airport crying to the driver,
Yeah.
and I would be comfortably rich in the villa drinking a mimosa.
You are so cold. But you're right. I would probably do the exact same thing to you.
It's not coldness. It's rational self-interest in a game design that rewards ruthlessness.
Yeah.
However, I have to give credit where credit is due. Strategically, what Ruru and Sorab did wasn't entirely altruistic.
You don't think so?
Not at all. They bought fierce, unshakable loyalty. In an ecosystem where alliances flip hourly based on paranoia, having a strong, dominant physical competitor like Himanshu owe you his literal life in the game. That is a tangible asset. They traded liquid capital, the coins, for social capital.
Okay, I see your clinical breakdown of social capital, but we need to rewind the tape to before the dome session, because we cannot talk about power dynamics without discussing the servant master
Oh,
task.
the humiliation ritual.
I need to talk about it. It was so dark. It was giving the Stanford prison experiment, but sponsored by MTV.
You are actually spot on with the psychological parallel.
Right.
The Stanford prison experiment demonstrated that if you take normal people and arbitrarily assign them the roles of guard and prisoner, the guards will almost immediately begin to exhibit authoritarian, abusive behaviors simply because the system permits it.
It's terrifying.
The producers of Splitsvilla basically read that psychological study
Yeah.
and said, let's make this a Tuesday afternoon challenge.
They put these contestants in positions of absolute authority over the specific people they have been beefing with all week just to see what kind of petty, vindictive tyrants they would become. And Anushka.
She did not hold back.
Oh my God. Phenomenal, terrifying television. She is sitting there looking at Deep Tanshu, a grown human man, and the very first thing she demands is that he physically touches her feet in a sign of subservient respect.
It was an immediate assertion of dominance, not a
Yeah.
fun, playful challenge,
Yeah.
a degradation ritual.
The ultimate power trip. And then she forces him to jump into the freezing pool over and over again on command like a trained dolphin.
The psychological warfare of it all.
But babes, that wasn't even the worst part. I was eating my paneer during this scene and I legitimately started gagging.
I knew exactly what you were going to say.
Gulu gets his turn as master. He
Mm.
looks at Himanshu, his biggest rival, and forces him to wash his dirty shoes
Grace.
and his underwear.
I had to look away.
And not just any underwear. Gulu specifically brags that it is 6-day-old underwear.
It's a biohazard.
Babes, 6 days. I had to put my fork down. The complete and utter lack of hygiene. The sheer audacity to broadcast your lack of laundry skills on national television just to dunk on an enemy. Like, what are the producers thinking filming that?
Well, the visceral disgust you felt is exactly what makes it compelling sociological viewing.
Compelling. It made me nauseous.
But it strips away the polished veneer these influencers try to maintain. It exposes the baseline vindictiveness of the human ego. You see who can handle a light, playful position of power with grace, and who instantly uses a sliver of leverage to absolutely demean and debase another person.
Oh, they all chose debasement.
None of the servants actually completed all 3 of the demands given to them, obviously, because the tasks crossed the line from game mechanics into personal degradation. But it functioned perfectly as a catalyst. It set the frictional, hateful tone required to make the dome session explosive.
Which perfectly transitions us into the breakup of the century. The absolute heist. We are talking about the corporate embezzlement of Splitsvilla.
Yes.
Mohit versus Anushka.
I demand we stop and give a standing ovation for this specific sequence of events. Because this, right here, is why I study the architecture of reality television.
I am emotionally defending Mohit in this situation. He was completely blindsided.
And I'm going to push back on that immediately because Mohit's downfall was his own incompetence. Let's look at the facts.
Look at the facts. He got robbed.
Mohit and Anushka enter a task as a pair, a joint venture. Through their combined effort, they successfully earn a massive payout of 16,000 split coins.
A huge amount.
When it is time to sit down and divide the assets, Anushka looks at the 16,000 coins, calmly slides 12,000 into her own personal bank account, and hands Mohit a measly 4,000.
Disgusting.
It is a 75-25 split. She essentially heavily taxed him for the mere privilege of breathing the same air as her during the challenge.
I was screaming at the television. I am furious on his behalf. They went through the grueling challenge together. He literally had the physical challenge instructions written in marker on his forehead.
He did.
He put in the sweat equity, and she robbed him blind in broad daylight.
He was not robbed, babes. He was outmaneuvered.
How?
If you enter a joint venture in a game titled Love or Money, without establishing an ironclad or at least verbally agreed upon dissolution clause regarding assets, you are asking to be liquidated. She recognized an opportunity for a hostile takeover, and she executed it flawlessly.
You are defending a thief.
I am defending a strategist.
But the craziest part isn't even the theft. It's the absolute unhinged delusion that follows. Mohit, rightfully furious and financially decimated, looks at her and says, I am setting a boundary. I am not doing the pie or love challenge with you anymore. I am pairing with Jhalak. He tries to assert some agency.
And Anushka's response to him establishing a basic emotional boundary after she stole his net worth should be taught in seminars on gaslighting.
She looks at him dead in the eye and says, I don't read my books backward.
Brilliant.
Iconic. Absolutely delusional, narcissistic. Hang the quote in the Louvre. She steals his money, destroys their alliance, and then instantly flips the narrative to act like he is the dusty relic of the past holding her back.
It is a brilliant spin.
Yeah.
But let's analyze the ripple effect of her hostile takeover, because the collateral damage is fascinating.
Yeah.
Mohit pairs with Jhalak. This leaves Garesh, who is Anushka's new ideal match, stuck in a horrific logistical nightmare.
Poor Garesh.
Garesh now has to do the paisa, or money challenges with Jhalak because of previous alliance locks, but he has to do the pyre challenges with Anushka. It is a messy, forced, tangled web of cross-alliances.
He looks so miserable.
Garesh is walking around the villa, complaining to anyone who will listen, sighing heavily, saying he's doing it forcefully, that he's a victim of circumstance, and he's just playing the game.
Garesh is just an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire of Anushka's villain origin story. But speaking of crossfire, we need to talk about the main event. Episode 39, the PR-Kajatka Compatibility Quiz.
Oh, this is rough.
The literal physical manifestation of romantic red flags.
The structural setup of this challenge was brilliantly cruel. It was designed to expose the fractures in these relationships. You have an 8-step pathway. Sunny Leone and Karan Kundra acting as the inquisitors, as deeply specific, revealing questions about the contestants' partners.
Right.
The partners write their answers on whiteboards. If the answers match, the girl gets to take one physical step forward on the board. The first couple to reach the end of the pathway wins. But the genius of the game design lies in the punishments for getting an answer wrong.
The gender disparity in the punishments had me hollering. It was so absurd.
It's very unbalanced.
Okay, so if the boy gets the answer about the girl wrong, the punishment is that the girl gets a cute little colorful helium balloon tied to a strand of her hair. By the end of the game, the girls look like they are floating away from a very aesthetic toddler's birthday party.
Very whimsical.
But if the girl gets the answer about the boy wrong, the boy gets strapped into a contraption and receives a literal, violent, physical smack on his bare back with a giant catapult mechanism. A fatka.
A brutal smack.
The boys are standing there fighting for their actual physical lives, bracing their core muscles for impact, getting battered purple, and the girls are just standing 10 feet away looking like the floating house from the movie Up.
It's a fascinating, almost satirical visual representation of the concept of emotional labor. The show has literally materialized the physical toll of miscommunication.
Literally physical.
And more importantly, this specific task perfectly stripped away the facade of these couples. It exposed who actually communicates, who listens to understand rather than listens to respond, and who is completely faking a connection purely for camera time and survival.
Enter Deeksha and Himanshu.
Here we go.
The absolute core chaos of the week. Babes, pour me more of that Sauvignon Blanc because my chest is getting tight just thinking about this. I am going on a full emotional spiral about Deeksha.
Take a breath. Her performance in this task is a fascinating case study. It needs to be examined in a clinical setting.
First of all, the voice, the baby voice. The constant, high-pitched, vocal fried, Himanshu. It is giving me, it is giving you, it is giving the entire Snark squad the ultimate incurable ick.
It's an epidemic.
I went down a rabbit hole on Reddit last night, and the threads are completely on fire about this. People are saying she's trying to do some sort of cutesy Priyanka Chopra impression, but it's just landing as sheer weaponized incompetence.
Well, from a sociological standpoint, the baby voice is often employed as a subconscious defense mechanism. It's a patriarchal bargaining tool designed to project innocence, vulnerability, and harmlessness, thereby exempting the user from accountability or expectation. Deeksha is using it to mask the fact that she has absolutely no idea who the man standing next to her is.
None at all.
Let's break down the actual data points from the quiz to prove this. The inquisitors ask, if your partner had a superpower, what would it be? This is a classic psychological projective test. It's designed to show how you perceive your partner's core struggles or ambitions.
Right, like what do they actually need in life?
Exactly. Himanshu is currently fighting for his life in this villa. He is a massive target. He needs real, tangible power, like invisibility or mind reading, to survive the politics of the house. Deeksha picks up her marker and writes, sleep.
Sleep. I screamed.
Yes, the ultimate Marvel Cinematic Universe hero coma girl.
Coma girl, oh my God.
Her partner is engaged in psychological warfare, and she genuinely believes his ultimate deepest fantasy is a solid 8-hour nap.
I was crying laughing, but simultaneously I was so infuriated for him because every single time she revealed her completely detached, nonsensical answer, smack, he gets hit with the catapult.
Repeatedly.
But then we get to the flirting question, and my soul left my body. The question is, what is your partner's go-to flirting move? Deeksha writes, and I quote verbatim, I like touching Himanshu's abs.
Just completely missing the point of the question.
She initially wrote acts of love, which she then immediately confidently clarified to Sunny Leone meant touching his abs.
Yeah, absolute love.
ABS of love. Who says that in real life?
No one. Absolutely no one.
Who stands in front of Sunny Leone, a Bollywood icon, Karan Kundra, a seasoned actor, and the entire national television viewing audience, and says, my deep, romantic, go-to flirting maneuver is running my hands over his abdominal muscles.
It's so shallow.
It is so deeply objectifying. It is so hollow. There is zero emotional depth. It's like she's dating a mannequin at a sporting goods store.
And through all of this, Himanshu is just standing there strapped to the board, getting absolutely battered. He is absorbing physical punishment over and over again because she couldn't get a single rudimentary answer right.
He looked so defeated.
And it wasn't just the subjective questions. There were multiple choice style questions like, who is the biggest attention seeker in the villa? And she wrote, no one.
Oh, that made me so mad.
You are in a reality television house filled with aspiring actors and influencers.
Yeah.
You cannot write no one, Deeksha. It is a statistical impossibility. It's a blatant cop-out.
She wrote no one because she is obsessively committed to projecting this curated image of being a perfect, unbothered, enlightened princess who exists above the fray of the house drama. She doesn't want to get her hands dirty, she refuses to actually play the strategic game, and she just expects Himanshu to act as her physical shield and carry her safely to the finale.
Which perfectly explains the post-task argument, which was, quite frankly, a masterclass in gaslighting 101.
Oh, the argument.
Let's analyze the tape. They walk away from the challenge. Himanshu's back is physically bruised, he is mentally exhausted, and he is deeply disappointed that his partner of several weeks knows absolutely nothing about his internal life. He sits her down, he speaks calmly. We need to note that the man did not raise his voice a single decibel.
Not once. He was so calm.
He simply expresses his valid frustration that she failed a basic compatibility test. And what is her immediate tactical response?
She flips the script entirely. She pulls the ultimate Darvo maneuver, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender.
Textbook.
She looks at him and says, "You can't talk to me like this. Don't look at me with that disappointed face." Babes, his spine is currently throbbing because you genuinely believe sleep is a supernatural ability. He is allowed to look disappointed you failed him.
The internet consensus perfectly corroborates our analysis. The entire Splitsvilla subreddit is tearing Deeksha apart for being aggressively oblivious.
As they should.
One highly upvoted user laid it out perfectly, stating, she wants to be treated like a pampered princess. She is incredibly lucky she has Himanshu as her partner. Otherwise, she wouldn't have survived the first 3 episodes.
Facts.
Another user pointed out the contrast in emotional regulation, noting that Himanshu handled her incompetence incredibly well. He never shouted, he never demeaned her. But she manufactured a massive dramatic issue out of his very valid irritation, solely to reposition herself as the victim of his anger.
It is genuinely exhausting to watch. It drains my life force. But you know what else is exhausting?
Tell me.
The fake showmances. The couples who are committing absolute fraud on my screen.
Let's pivot our analytical lens to the actual winners of the compatibility task, Yogesh and Ruru.
They won by exactly 1 point. They barely survived the 8 steps. They looked somewhat competent standing next to each other, but the vibe,
Non-existent.
it is totally dead. It is the rotting corpse of a relationship. You can see the invisible force field of repulsion between them.
Mathematically, they are holding on for dear life. They understand the mechanics of the game require a partner to avoid the dumping ground. But if we look at the external, real-world data specifically, Ruru's Instagram Live from 2 days ago, the tea is spilling everywhere.
It's a mess.
She went live to thousands of people and officially confirmed that they are completely broken up. And the reason? Because Yogesh was actively, intentionally sailing in 2 boats. He was feeding Ruru lines of commitment while actively pursuing and playing Akanksha behind her back.
The proof is in the VDs. For the Snark Squad newbies, VDs are the video diaries, the little confessionals they film in the green screen room where they supposedly tell the truth.
The truth?
You watch Yogesh in the confessional during the quiz, and he looks absolutely thrilled every single time Akanksha gets an answer wrong with her new match, Garesh. He's sitting there with this smug, villainous smirk, basically praying for Akanksha's new relationship to crash and burn, all while he is literally holding Ruru's hand out on the challenge floor.
It's blatant.
It is so deeply disrespectful to Ruru. Reddit was dragging him to filth for this. The top comment was, "Why put on such a loving act in the VDs? You left her to chase shiny new toys."
It is entirely driven by male ego. Yogesh's fragile ego couldn't handle a visual of Akanksha moving on and being successful with someone else, even though he's the one who initiated the manipulation of the situation. He wants to be the puppet master. But speaking of clumsy manipulation, we have to talk about Gulu and Kyra.
Oh my god, yes. The most embarrassing cheating scandal of the season.
Inquisitors ask a simple numerical question. How many exes do you have? A baseline trivia question for any couple. Kyra picks up her marker, writes a number, panics, scribbles it out, writes another number, and the high-definition camera zooms right in.
Zooms right in on the crime scene.
It catches her whiteboard. She has blatantly written a 3, a 4, and possibly a heavily stylized 2, all clustered together. She was aggressively trying to cover all possible numerical bases so she could retroactively claim whatever number Gulu ended up guessing.
It was so sloppy, I have to sarcastically applaud the sheer lack of finesse, because it was hilarious to watch her try to defend it. And then Gulu. The man is a walking disaster.
Truly.
During the superpower question, Sunny asks, "What superpower do you want?" And Gulu, with a completely straight face, says, "Famous?" He wants the superpower of being famous. Bless his sweet, empty little heart.
It's astounding.
And then, when pressed for a real power, he says his dream ability is to ban Gali, to ban swear words from the world.
Banning swear words, a truly Marvel tier, godlike superpower. We are clearly dealing with some of those profound, deeply philosophical intellects of our generation in this villa.
I cannot do this anymore. I need a massive sip of wine to recover from Gulu's brainwaves. Okay, glasses down. We need to officially judge these couples. It is time for segment 1, Chaos Compatibility.
The conceptual framework for this segment is straightforward. We are conducting a rapid-fire, highly judgmental analysis of which couples actually make logical, emotional sense together, and which pairs are entirely manufactured constructs designed solely for camera time and survival. Let's begin with the anomalies, the positives. Who in this house of horrors actually makes sense?
I am going to say it, and I am going to stand by it. Niharika and Sorab. I love them. I am fully buying into whatever the Oracle's algorithms spit out.
Interesting.
I know they just secured the official ideal match status, which gives them a huge target. But when you watch them sitting up on that throne, they actually seem to genuinely like each other. They aren't forcing the physical touch. They have this quiet, anchored confidence. They are currently ruling the entire villa. And unlike everyone else who gets power, they don't look panicked or stressed about it. They look aligned.
I agree with your assessment. They possess a solid baseline of mutual respect, which is a resource rarer than diamonds in this house. Now, my pick for a couple that actually makes sense, despite the surrounding chaos, might surprise you. Deeptanshu and Soundarya, otherwise known as Sadi.
Really? You are picking Deeptanshu after his performance on the "What was she wearing?" question?
Yes, and I will defend my thesis. Think about the mechanics of that specific moment. The question was, what was she wearing when you first met? And Deeptanshu, in peak clueless male fashion, writes, brown top / bottom.
It was so bad.
It was so generic it sounded like a police sketch description. But here is the underlying psychology of why they work. Sadi's primary emotional grievance the entire season has been communication. She constantly complains that he's aloof, that he doesn't listen to her, that he's emotionally vacant.
Right, she's always crying about it.
But during this high-stress task, Deeptanshu was consistently pulling out hyper-specific, nuanced details about her life that proved he is actively listening and encoding memories about her. He just isn't aggressively verbalizing his feelings all the time. They survived the catapults, they shared a genuine moment of realization on the mat, and they proved they actually communicate on a functional level.
Okay, that is a very fair clinical analysis. I see the vision. I accept Deeptanshu and Sadi. But now we must purge the negativity. We have to talk about who does not make sense. The couples we need to throw into the reality TV incinerator. Which couples don't work?
Do you really even need to ask me?
Deeksha and Himanshu. I will argue this until I am blue in the face and my vocal cords give out. They are entirely, fundamentally incompatible on every conceivable level.
On every level.
Listen to me. If your romantic partner does not know your basic love language, legitimately thinks your ultimate dream in life is a nap, and actively chooses to write "abs of love" on a national television whiteboard while you're getting physically beaten, throw the whole relationship away.
Burn it down.
There is no foundation there. It is built on sand. She is living inside a heavily filtered, delusionally romantic rom-com, playing solely in her own head, and he is trying to play a high-stakes, cutthroat strategy game. They aren't just reading from different scripts. They are operating in entirely different dimensions.
Not even the same genre of existence. My pick for the absolute most manufactured, transparently desperate pairing is Yogesh and Ruru.
Obviously.
As I mathematically proved during our analysis of the task and the Instagram live data, they are clinging to each other simply because the game rules dictate that singles get eliminated. The physical tension between them is palpable. You could cut it with a scalpel.
They can't even stand to look at each other.
The video diaries empirically prove his head and his strategic interests are elsewhere. It is a cold, transactional alliance, poorly masking itself as a romantic connection, and the structural integrity is going to implode spectacularly.
Which brings us perfectly to the natural evolution of transactional alliances. Welcome to Segment 2, Master Manipulator Watch.
The objective here is identifying and crowning the sneakiest, most strategic, most cold-blooded player of the week. We have two prime nominees who demonstrated exceptional sociopathy.
Nominee number 1, Gulu and Suzanne. They are currently hoarding that power match position like dragons sitting on gold.
They are very comfortable up there.
They are sitting up on the balcony, looking down at the peasants scrambling in the dirt, and they are systematically, coldly trying to pick off massive physical threats like Himanshu. They aren't playing with emotion, they are playing a numbers game, and they are playing it ruthlessly.
It is a very strong nomination. Controlling the numbers is how you win. But nominee number 2 is Akanksha. And Frankly, babes, I have to give her my official vote. In fact, I demand we both give her a standing ovation right now.
I am literally standing up. I am out of my chair. I am applauding in my living room.
What Akanksha executed this week was a masterclass in Machiavellian reality TV politics. Let's review her resume. She flawlessly manipulated the coin split, securing 12,000 coins for her own war chest while leaving her partner financially destitute.
Diabolical.
Once she realized that bridge was burned, she seamlessly pivoted and secured Garesh, an official ideal match, guaranteeing her absolute safety from elimination. And the piece de resistance. When Mohit inevitably and entirely justifiably left her toxic orbit to pair with Jhalak, she weaponized her tears and played the victim perfectly.
I don't read my books backward. I am still unwell over that line.
Exactly. She gaslit the entire population of the villa into believing Mohit was the aggressive villain for reacting to her blatant theft. She got the entire Reddit community pressed and writing essays about her morality. She isn't treating Splitsvilla like a dating show. She is treating it like a boardroom battle in succession. She is Shiv Roy in a bikini.
I bow down. I completely surrender to her power. The sheer, unadulterated audacity to steal a man's entire life savings and then cry about how he is treating you poorly. She wins Master Manipulator of the Week, hands down. FedEx her an Emmy immediately.
And now we must travel to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum of human achievement. Segment 3, Cringe Moment of the Week.
The moment that made us literally pause the TV, cover our eyes with a throw pillow, and pour a dangerously full glass of wine to cope with the secondhand embarrassment.
What was your primary traumatic reaction?
It has to be the servant task. Specifically, Anushka demanding Deep Tanshu touch her feet. Babes, the power dynamic was so gross to witness.
It really was uncomfortable.
It wasn't the fun, playful, shady reality TV banter we tune in for. It crossed a line. It became this weird, deeply uncomfortable, ego-driven humiliation ritual. I physically had to look away from the screen. I was choking on my pakora.
It was undeniably dark, a true glimpse into the abyss of human ego. But for me, the cringe moment of the week wasn't physical, it was purely auditory torture. It was Deeksha.
Oh, no.
Standing in front of Sunny Leone, a woman who has navigated the heights of the entertainment industry, and Karen Kundra. And Deeksha deploys that high-pitched infantile baby voice and confidently, with zero irony, declares that her ultimate go-to flirting maneuver is touching Himanshu's abdominal muscles.
Oh, God, why did you remind me? The audio file's playing in my head again. Make it stop.
The sheer, staggering lack of self-awareness required to say that out loud, and the dead, unblinking silence that followed from the hosts. It was agonizing.
Snark's God, we are asking you directly right now, pause this, whatever we're calling today's spiral. Get in the comments on our latest post, slide into our DMs. We need a jury verdict. What was worse? What is your threshold for cringe? Watching Himanshu be forced to scrub another man's 6-day-old underwear, or having your eardrums assaulted by Deeksha saying, abs of love, I need the data.
We must push through the trauma and look to the future because the forecast looks even messier. Welcome to segment 4, who's about to get exposed.
This is where we consult our crystal balls and make our boldest predictions for the upcoming episodes based entirely on the chaotic seeds planted this week. The secrets, the inevitable betrayals, the massive blow-ups.
Prediction number 1. The entire Yokesh, Ruru, and Akanksha love triangle is going to violently detonate in the very next Dome session.
It has to.
The structural integrity is failing. The fake nice act is slipping off their faces. Ruru is clearly starting to realize Yogesh is entirely checked out emotionally. Akanksha is sitting pretty, protected by her coins and her new match, but her psychological profile dictates that she loves to pull strings and watch people dance.
She does.
That entire dynamic is a powder keg soaking in gasoline, and I predict a massive, unhinged screaming match right in the middle of the dumping ground.
Okay, your logic is sound. But babes, you are thinking way too small. I'm looking at the big picture. I am dropping the massive spoiler, the end of episode teaser for episode 40, that has had me physically vibrating with excitement since I saw it.
Say it so that people can hear it.
Baysher Ali is returning.
The physical gasp I just let out.
Baysher Ali, reality TV royalty, the ultimate disruptor of peace. He is walking back through those villa doors.
Oh, the psychological and strategic ramifications of this are absolutely staggering. Let's analyze the current fragile ecosystem of the house. You have this group of self-proclaimed alphas, Harshit, Gulu, Himanshu. They have spent the last 39 episodes desperately trying to establish their dominance, marking their territory, puffing out their chests, and fighting for scraps of power.
They genuinely think they run the show. They think they are the main character.
Exactly. They have built a hierarchy. And now, P.C.R. Ali, a reality TV veteran, a man who fundamentally, on a cellular level, understands exactly how to manipulate camera angles, producer narratives, and the romantic inclinations of the women in that house, is just going to casually stroll through those doors. Bezier is going to siphon 80% of the screen time and the house's attention just by breathing the air.
Harshit is going to immediately spiral into an ego death. Gulu is going to panic, try to form a desperate, groveling alliance with Bezier, and get brutally rejected on camera. Himanshu is going to try to physically intimidate him and fail. It is going to be absolute, unfiltered carnage, and I am sitting front row for every single second of it.
The established alphas are going to completely unravel. That's the beauty of it. Bezier doesn't even need to win a physical task. He just needs to look at their connections with a raised eyebrow, and their own deep-seated insecurities will do the rest of the work. It is a brilliant, calculated casting move by the producers to inject a massive dose of chaos into what was becoming a stagnant endgame.
I cannot wait. My calendar is cleared. We are going to need significantly more wine for next week's recording, which means it is time for us to wrap up our spiral.
Wine flowing.
Food demolished.
Rave dilemma unresolved.
Splitsvilla chaos.
Should go to the rave.
Favorite couple.
And babes, what would you order from Indian Takeaway?
Rate, review, subscribe.
Send submissions.
Send this to your most chaotic bestie.
Thank the Snark Squad.
Stay shady.
Stay iconic.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.
But before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought to let marinate in your brain this week. We just spent an hour judging the validity of these couples. But ask yourself this. If a romantic relationship only exists because a producer points a high-definition camera at it and threatens you with elimination, does the relationship actually exist at all? Or is it just quantum entanglement for MTV ratings? Sleep on that.